Okay, I've started recording for today. Get started. A couple things. All of you have gone ahead and told me where you want to be. And what I'm trying to do is keep this as compact as I can for the faculty as well. So we'll probably start at 11 on the 10th and go till maybe 3 o'clock. We'll see how it goes. A couple things on that schedule. It said if you don't do the faculty review, you fail this class. That's true. But it also said in there, and I need to adjust this, that if you don't go through the industry professional review, you'll only get a B. And that's not true this quarter just because of the situation in terms of Zoom, pandemic, getting everyone together, organized, whatever. If you don't want to go through the industry professional, grade you based on what is happening this quarter inside the class and at the faculty review. So there's that. Let's see. So what I want to do today is a couple things. First, go through the portfolios that have been submitted so far and talk about some of those things so that you have time to make adjustments in your own if you want. And then to also go over the whole procedure of the presentation itself. It's actually pretty simple. It's not that much different from the kinds of things you've been doing when you've been presenting in class. It's just that you have to do all the copying. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. Let's go ahead and share screen here real quickly. So first off, I'm going to take a look at Rick's. He had sent me copies early on and asked for feedback, and so I gave him some feedback. So I think he's pretty comfortable where his portfolio is at right now. So we'll take a look at that. Now, can you guys see his portfolio? So here's his opening page. Now, Rick, I wanted to ask you where you got this image from. Is this an image that you created?
Hi. I can't hear you. Could you say it again?
I was asking if this was an image that you created yourself.
Yeah, that's my personal project.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty strong way to start your portfolio with a nice strong image like that. And then you went ahead.
I'm focusing on the hard surface, so this can give me a bonus for getting a job.
Yeah, I like the way that started, and then that you combine all of these, and then you made it possible to click on them individually, and the rest of it. And so you're getting all your stuff up front. The only thing is that when you do your presentation, you're going to want to, again, I'll tell you all this now based on past experience. If there is a tendency for students when they get nervous to hop around and they'll, oh, let's look at this one, and then they'll go over here and then they'll do this, and oh, I want to see this. Go through as methodically and as straightforward as you can. Take the time to breathe. Take the time to describe what it is we're looking at for the faculty and why you did the things you did. And then indeed, like this is a great example of this was something that was done as part of the unit. And so, like Rick has stated out here that he worked with Pablo and Anastasia on this. And then this cartoon house was something else he did on his own. And go ahead and explain those things. That's part of your process pieces, I think. And then we have the about page and the contact. So this is a very straightforward, direct, complete presentation of his portfolio. We get through this strong stuff right off the bat. get a chance to see in a very organized fashion what it is he considers his best work. And you get a pretty good view of everything that's there. So this I consider a pretty strong portfolio to start. Now, of course, again, this is my personal opinion that this is kind of doing what I've asked you guys to do on quarter. We'll see how the rest of the faculty feels about that. Because not all of us agree on things, but hopefully in the session, in the presentation, you'll get some strong feedback from everybody if they see weaknesses that I don't see, or if they see things that you can do better, they will give you that feedback, hopefully. Two things as well is that we record the session for you, and we'll provide that to the student so that you get the feedback for your review to look at your own time, on your own time, and at your leisure, so you can absorb it more quickly. Because when you're in the presentation, you're kind of nervous and you're thinking about a lot of other things, and you don't really pay attention to everything that's said. If you have a recording of it, you go back and look and say, "Oh yeah, now I remember that." And so you get that. The other thing is that because of the pandemic, we've had trouble having all the faculty be able to be there. And I'm hoping this quarter, because we've been nagging everybody about being there, that we'll have more of a faculty representation this quarter so that you guys should get some pretty decent feedback from everybody. But we'll see. Faculty is smaller these days right now because there's been a hiring freeze on. And people have a lot of stuff going on in their lives, but hopefully we'll have a good representation from the faculty to give you guys some feedback on this stuff. So that's Rick's portfolio. Campbell's not here, but we'll talk about it a little bit. So he starts off strong with some motion. We know right away who he is. Pablo, he does 3D and special effects. Giving us, in a way, this kind of a sizzle reel. What else he got? So he's got home gallery. So we see the different things he's done. And he's explaining, one's a team project, one is a solo project, another is a solo project. This is a solo project. And he has a link to his blog. So we'll get, that's a great place to have his information about himself, and then a simple contact. Again, something that's pretty straightforward, gets us right into it. It'll be interesting to see when he talks about it. Yeah, he gives credit to people for all the other work. And he has he's got it laid out so that he could easily talk about what it is he did and what the other people did. So again, straightforward, gets to what's important, doesn't waste anybody's time, has it laid out pretty logically. It's pretty condensed. Yet he doesn't have a lot of stuff, but what he has, he's presented pretty well. So that's the kind of thing you want to be looking at. Andrew, we talked about this, he and I, and he's going to be making some changes. So this is not going to be his final portfolio, but this is what you come up with. Right off the bat, I want to see his name, which I'm not seeing here. I want to make it more compact, get things bunched together better, so that we're not spending a lot of time scrolling through it, trying to find things. And, but his pieces are strongly put. He says he has some good things to say about himself, talking about who he is. So I think that based on the notes I gave him and what we talked about, it's going to be a much better portfolio on Friday next week when we go through the review. Kevin? you yet, so this will be some fun. Now, you're in video, right? Well, and you've asked for an early time, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's good, because Dave Bruckner's already told me that he can only stay until noon, so he will be there for your presentation. So that helps. And just the fact that you use a lens image right away, we know that we're talking about video. Just like a sizzle reel.
Yeah, well, it's just a bunch of different videos that I've made. But I think I want to update it because I don't really have any information about myself
Yeah,
on there.
I think it helps. That's one of the things that you can also cover when you start your presentation when you're on camera. But that's with that. Yeah, I think so. And you're going to want to explain each one of these things. Now, is this an effect?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Are you talking about editing or cinematography, videography, or what?
Well, this is all like motion graphics stuff, so that's kind of like
Yeah, it's effects layer over actual video, right?
Right, so it's after effects. It's compositing. And so make that clear that it is about the fact that you've taken different things and brought them together to work with a coherent whole.
If you go back to the very first one, I don't know if it'll keep doing this, but when he initially brought this up and it was just playing the first one, I think the second one also started playing and it was kind of that default YouTube like kind of preview thing.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I just like embedded the YouTube video into the web page, so I think that's why it's doing that. I don't really know how.
is this from you? Is
I
this
think
from
the best move might be to upload the videos onto their, like your actual hard copies from your computer onto the site.
Yeah.
Because I ran into the same problem initially. I just did YouTube links and it was starting to like, I would have basically two videos playing at once, but one was kind of offset, like way off to the side.
Right.
Playing. So what I did was I downloaded those like hard copies and just uploaded them individually to the site.
There's two ways to approach it. Like JP said, go ahead and either do a hard copy version straight to your website or go to Vimeo instead of YouTube. You have a little bit more control over how the video displays in Vimeo. You don't have to do it like at the end of YouTube. And we're not seeing here, fortunately, but you know, a lot of times when you go to a
Yeah, the
YouTube
recommended
link, you
videos.
get that collage at the end. And you don't want that. You don't want to have them see anybody else's work
Yeah.
show up. So that's something. But yeah, definitely give us some about your who you are, what your aspirations are, what it is you want to do, and you know, talk passionately about what you do, about how much you enjoy doing the work that you show us. Because passion sells, enthusiasm sells. So I would definitely do that. But yeah, the fact that you give us stuff to look at right off the bat is great. Now, Jeff says this isn't totally finished, so
I'm missing one clip that my director wasn't able to get to me yet. Maybe turn the music down to half. Yeah, this is
this one's kind of frustrating because, first of all, it's a fascinating topic. It's just, especially at the botanical garden up there. I was up there 2 months ago, and it is a gorgeous place to be. And some of the shots are really good, especially when you got some sun breaks. But some of it's kind of dull because it was a great day in some parts. So some of it wasn't lit as good.
yeah, I mean, they gave us the due date in October and we were only able to shoot in September for like 3 days.
Yeah, no, I understand. Sometimes it helps to have a light hit with you to do some things. And, but like some of these wide shots with the gray sky, it's kind of hard to brighten that up, but you got a lot of light to work with.
Yeah, I guess that's part of, I think that was part of the assignment that they gave me, was it was supposed to be fall, like, you know.
Yeah.
So all the days I could get there and shoot were, you know,
Crappy days.
yeah.
It's one of the problems around here, that it takes some experience to figure out how to shoot in those kinds of days. I mean, there was a time when British television, BBC, shot a lot of stuff on video instead of film.
Yeah.
And being the kind of climate that they had in those days, a lot of it looked like this. And these are professionals doing it, but still had that kind of dull pop to it.
Yeah.
And that happens. And but now, were you doing the videography for it?
I was in charge of scheduling videography. I did part of the videography. I also scheduled the other people that went out and shot. I had 2 other people helping me. And then I also did editing. And so yeah, like this project was my responsibility from start to finish.
Okay, that's a good place to start then. Talking about how this was a team project, you had all those responsibilities, and you were able to bring all that. Because the piece itself is nice, it's just, you know, there are just some scenes I wish were just brighter to look at. But you did pull it all together, and I looked at the others as well.
The others are pieces I assisted in. Like the rest of these, I did lights, sound, and teleprompters in. So you know, I was there and like on set and assisting for all of these.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is I looked at all of them, and make sure that you, but when you show them, say, my responsibility here was to do this, this, and this. And I will say that looking at all of them, the rest of these, all are well lit, they're well shot, the audio works, the editing works, so these are strong pieces that, you know, they're for the city, and they had a professional quality to it, so I think that these are good pieces to have in here. So generally, you're in good shape. Because like you say, you're missing that one. But you know, if you don't get it in time, it's not something to freak out about.
No, I mean, I literally, after I talked to you earlier, I got on the phone and talked to my director.
Yeah.
He's going into work, but he thinks he could have the scene ready for me by tonight. Which means I could have it uploaded by like Friday morning.
Okay.
So,
Well, that everybody I've got this stuff for. So
I submitted my final portfolio.
oh, it's okay. Let me- There you are. I have to admit, I like this image. A lot of subtlety and good color harmony in it. I don't know if this is what you really want to do. Was this a 3D piece, Kate?
Can you repeat the question?
Was this a 3D piece or something else?
Yeah, this is a 3D model. I did it in ZBrush.
That's even more impressive to me because we don't have any of the hard shine or the plastic looking surfaces here. So that's a nice piece to start off. And I would stress that this was a ZBrush piece that you did.
Thank you. These are all just pictures.
Right, and that's fine. Make sure that you take time to explain each one of these and talk about the textures, what the challenges were, what they're supposed to be about, and what you did for them. I know that they all look like individual pieces. You're not working as a team, but I would like to see something. Or it's hard with 3D, and so you probably don't have screen grabs of the different phases that you went through. But at least talk about what your reference material was, what your concept was, what your reference material was, and then how you proceeded to get to the finish. You know, if you did thumbnails and sketches, that'd be great, but being 3D, I'm sure you did it all on the computer and all digitally. But it'd be nice if you go back and you probably can't get, you know, snapshots of the work in progress to show your process. That would be valuable, but you don't. I get that. I like the simple menu on the side. But yeah, give me a picture and something about yourself, about you, where you come from, and what you want to be, what your skill sets are, and what software you know. Get all that text in there, get that picture in there. Let them see who you are. It's just as important. Your work is just, who you are is just as important as your work and why you are doing what you do. So in your about, talk about your background and why you're doing what you do. Like I told Devin, it shows some passion for what you've done and why you're in this program.
Yeah, I had some, if you click on the project, one of the projects, the last one, well, I guess the first one, it has like the progress pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to click on them and then then it opens the page with all the other pictures. The one with the sword has, well, not progress, but like what it looks like in 3D space instead of rendered image.
Okay, I see that. Now the fact that I didn't realize that could be on me, but it also could be that you need to give some kind of, oh, you got a typo here, programs. Got an extra G in there. So you want to fix
Oh
that.
yeah, I saw
And
this
that's-
one.
And right now this just looks like,
Yeah, I just have to add the text. I couldn't come up with anything yet.
well, just talk about, like I say, talk about just a short paragraph about what this project was supposed to do. And then you can go into more detail when you do the presentation, when we talk about it. But make it clear how to get into all these. The fact is that if they, well, when you do your presentation, make sure that you click on each one in order and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I might move this one, to number one, and then take this one, make it number two, and then finish with the furniture. That's because I think this is the strongest piece. So that's what
Okay.
So about the presentation itself, I'll be sending you the Zoom invite. When you log on, you'll be asked to sit in the waiting room until it's time for you to come on and do your presentation. And you'll get acknowledgement, okay, now you come in. And then you're going to be one to be on camera. No hiding behind an avatar or text. You're going to want to be on camera, and you're going to sit there and you're going to introduce yourself. I'm so-and-so, and I am a 3D artist, or I am a video editor, or I am, you know, whatever. And then you're going to sit there and talk about, get into the about, do a short introduction about who you are and why you're doing what you're doing and why you love what you do. And I stress that word love. Sounds corny, but like I say, passion, enthusiasm, you know, the energy that you put into your work is important, and they need to hear that. And then go into your presentation where you share screen, you start going through your portfolio. And as we discussed on quarter, we talk about what each piece took to get done. What your process was. If you have one section of the process piece, focus on that. If you don't have any process, at least take the time with each piece that you do have to explain why you did what you did and how you got there. And then you sit there and you show the about page, show that you have a contact page, and then you wrap up and you kind of repeat what you said about yourself in the beginning. You come back on camera and just do a goodbye where you describe yourself and why you're really doing this, and hopefully you'll get some and say, and I appreciate any feedback you have, so that I can continue to work doing what I'm doing and just improve. So it's pretty simple. You have 15 minutes and then another 15 minutes to get the feedback. It may take less time, probably will. And so it's a pretty straightforward process. Again, a couple things. When I was talking about presentation in the first place, before you start, take a deep breath, let it out, relax, confident, even if you aren't, fake it. And the third thing to remember is that there isn't anyone in that room who is trying to screw you. Everybody there, you either had all of them or some of them as teachers, and you know that they're there. In some ways, this is a judgment on us. If we do a good job teaching you, think about it that way. And say, if I failed, part of that's your fault. And that's probably in the back of our minds, making sure that we guided you in the best way possible. So when we're giving you feedback, we're trying to be supportive. You may give some harsh feedback. You may sit there and say that something's not working here, or you started some things or whatever. In this group, I don't see that as a possibility. It has come up in the past. But generally, the fact was to give you good reviews, positive feedback, more about what you did really well and what you can do better. You're not, no one's going to say, this stinks, this was bad, this was lazy. No one's going to say stuff like that, because that's not what we're about. What we're about is making sure that you guys walk out of here with something that you're not afraid of showing somebody. And I say all that, I stress all that because people who always walk in often nervous, tense, and I want you guys to feel like when you log on to that Zoom meeting, you know that this is not a hospital room. That you're not going to get heckled every time that, just so that you can relax and not be nervous and not be afraid. And there's going to be hopefully some really insightful faculty there. I've had, and like I said in the past, because of the pandemic, I've had fewer faculty than I'd like. But the two other people who worked with me on these in the past were very insightful people and very, very detailed in their feedback. There's a couple others who hopefully will be showing up who will be just as astute. I think that all of you have had some of them in classes before, and you feel pretty comfortable with them. Again, it's about you showing off. You're not begging for a job. You're showing off that you deserve a job. So keep that in mind. Be confident, relax, enjoy yourself. Like I say, it should take about a half hour or a little less for each of you. And I'll send you the schedule of when you're up. And I'll send you the Zoom invite next week. I'm trying to think. This is a question for everybody here. You could meet next Thursday before the presentation. And if you want to do that, let me know. If there's anybody here who wants to do that, or would you rather just skip it and just spend the whole next week getting ready for the presentation on Friday? Anybody see a reason to meet next Thursday? Okay, so I will not have class next Thursday. So be prepared. is something else I want to go over here. Yeah. When this is all over, we have one last thing to do after the presentation. And that's the post-panel reflection. P2, 50, 40 of the quarter. So you did your presentation, you got through it all, congratulations. Now comes the time to think about all that was said and decide what to do with it. So take what you got from the initial presentation and from the recording and think about what's going on. And please post your response to the following prompts in the post-panel reflection discussion area by 10 p.m. Wednesday, December 15th. We're going to talk about the 3 things you intend to change about your portfolio or work samples based on the feedback you received. And 2 things you'll do differently when presenting yourself and your work based on the feedback and experience presented. So basically, you're grading yourself on how things went and what you want to do to move forward. Once what others post, tell you post yourself, but once you do, feel free to comment on the reflections of your peers. You want to do that. And if you can't recall exactly what was said, which sometimes happens if you're just too nervous or whatever, or if you hate public speaking, you kind of go blank. You'll send a link to the video so you can review that and have a clear idea of what actually was said in the presentation. So like I say, that will be due on the 15th, which is just before the very end of the quarter. So where that leaves us at this point is that I'm going to see all of you next Friday. I'm going to send you the Zoom invite. You can do your presentation, and you can do your reflection on what you got out of it. And this is the last time we'll meet as a group. So I gather from you, all of you, that this is your last quarter at Bellevue. Is that right? Congratulations, you made it through. And all worked hard to get here. So this is the last time we meet this group, and hopefully you got something from this class prepared, get you prepared for this review. Now, if you decide to go onward with, if we decide as a faculty that we decide that you're in a position to move on to industry professional review, I will organize that and get in contact with you as soon as I have the information for you. It'll be a one-on-one online, most likely. We have several people we use for graphic design, for 3D modeling, for video editing, for video in general, gaming. We have people who do this kind of thing professionally. Some of them big-time people. And, if we feel like you're ready for that kind of thing, we'll let you know, and you'll hear from me after the presentation. In the meantime, good luck assessing your final portfolio. Make any changes you feel that you need to make at this point. Relax. I will say this, and I talked about this important presentation. You know, if you want to do your introduction from the beginning on camera, go ahead and write out something and practice it. But don't have it written. Just have a rough outline in your head of what it is you want to say and have it practiced so that you're comfortable saying it. And then go in without notes, but knowing that you're prepared. Don't just be prepared to sit there and sell yourself the best you can. It should go well. I think you guys are ready. So that's it. You won't see me until next Friday. And I think you guys are ready. You've all said that you either have some things you want to finesse or change around. So go in, get that done so that you're totally prepared for what happens next Friday. It'd be actually kind of fun. So that's it. I can say goodbye to all of you. Good luck. And thanks for making this a pleasant quarter for me. Everybody take care. And have a good week. Bye, everyone.